what we are doing on the session today is to walk you through how you can study some of the key subjects in order for you to really put yourself in the position to pass the examination. Because if you understand the structure of the syllabus, the way the topics are knitted together, the subject combination and all that, that is going to put you in the position to be able to then go into the exam hall, write the exam with confidence, and most importantly, pass the examination. So let me start the discussion from public sector accounting and finance. Now, the public sector accounting paper in the new syllabus is an interesting paper that is structured in such a manner to ensure that students put themselves in the position to go into the exam hall and pass the examination, but most importantly, be equipped to be able to apply what has to be applied. Now, for the most part, what is going to be happening is that there are some key areas that we need to be mindful of. So let's look at the thematic topics in public sector accounting and finance. We are going to be starting first from the A aspect of the syllabus, and that is going to be budgeting or the public financial management cycle. All right. So public financial management cycle. And public financial public expenditure and financial accountability framework, PFA. We're going to be getting into all of these, don't worry. Second, we are going to be dealing with the IPSAS, that is the International Public Sector Accounting Standards. Third, we're going to be getting excited into preparation of financial statement. Okay. Fourth, we're going to be looking at the issue in respect of evaluation of financial statement. Evaluation of financial statement. And then 5, we're going to be getting excited into, governance in the public sector. Okay, governance in the public sector. Then certainly the issue about the regulatory framework and the regulatory framework. And so when it comes to public sector accounting and finance, these are the thematic areas. In other words, the 20 marks question that will be coming in the exam hall when it comes to public sector accounting and finance, these are the things that the examiner is going to be asking questions on. And so the question we then have to ask ourselves is, how do we structure ourselves? How is the syllabus weaved? How are we supposed to study so that we go into the exam hall, write the exam with confidence, and most importantly, pass the examination? As always, in the public sector, you are going to be opening up with some key introductory issues. So there are some key introductory topics, or sometimes what I refer to as discussions, that you have to be mindful of. Now, those introductory topics or discussions can actually be found in the D aspect of the syllabus, which is the governance in public sector and regulatory framework. And so this is where you are going to be sharing your thoughts, and you must know about the following issues. You must know the issues in respect of the regulatory framework. Okay, the regulatory framework. And here, this is where you are talking about qualitative characteristics of financial statement, elements of financial statement, objectives of financial statement, measurement basis. So that's an introductory area. You must understand these. Then certainly you are going to be coming to, still in the introductory aspect, some other issues, such as what I mentioned earlier. Who are the users of financial statements? How governments control public sector institutions. All those things are going to be part of there. Then we come to revenue, management, and expenditure control. This is a topic you must understand as a public sector accounting and finance student. Now, it is not directly in the syllabus, because if you flip through the syllabus for public sector, it's not directly there, but it is something you need to understand to know the various sources of revenue to the central government, to the local government, and all of those things, and also to the other covered entities. Then you must know the expenditure items and the way you recognize all of these things as well. Then you come to the role of key public officers and the governance issues. So the role of key public officers and, key public institutions like Minister of Finance, Controller Accountant General, Auditor General, Principal Account Holder, Principal Spending Officer. All of these are key people whose responsibility must be known. If you are going into the exam hall because the examiner could throw something at you, then certainly dealing with the Nolan's principle when it comes to governance, okay, how public sector organization or public sector officers are expected to behave using the Nolan 7 principle. That was asked by the examiner in the November 2024 examination, which was the first examination under the new syllabus that the examiner brought up. And so the role of key public officers and all these, we must understand them. Then certainly you must be aware of the various other issues in respect of the accounting techniques or approaches, okay? The accounting techniques or approaches. We must know about this. This is where we are talking about cash basis of accounting, accrual basis of accounting, modified cash basis. And so these are introductory discussions that you must know about as a public sector accounting and finance student. These are introductory areas. And so we're going to have 20-mark question in the exam hall on these kind of issues. And so you must understand them. Now, they are also going to then set us up on the other issues that we are going to be getting excited on as we go ahead with the discussion. So that is the first area that we need to understand when it comes to public sector accounting and finance. Now, remember, as I mentioned, I am doing this to help you to understand how the syllabus is structured for each of the papers, right? And then you know how then to prepare your study plan so that you structure your studies out to enhance or increase your chances of completing the syllabus in record time and putting yourself in the position to ultimately pass the examination at the end of the day. And so those are the introductory areas. Once we finish with these introductory areas, we're going to be coming to the 20 marks area that is going to set us up, because under revenue management and expenditure control, as you are looking at this topic, you are going to be coming along with some of the international public sector accounting standards, the IPSAS. And so there's going to be a 20 marks area waiting for us, dedicated, okay, 20 marks, done deal, waiting for us in the exam hall for the IPSAS that you need to understand. So what are the IPSAS here? And so this is where we mentioned that it is important you write, say, financial reporting and public sector together, right? Because of the fact that there are a lot of relationship. There is about 40 marks question that will, find itself in financial reporting and in public sector, only that the context will be different, but the principles will be the same. And so when it comes to the IPSAS, we are talking about something like IPSAS 17, property, plant, and equipment. We are talking about IPSAS 16, investment property. IPSAS 12, inventory. All right. We're talking about IPSAS 2, cash flow statement. Okay. Certainly IPSAS 1, preparation of financial statement. Okay. We are talking about IPSAS 23, revenue from non-exchange transaction. IPSAS 9, revenue from exchange transaction. Then IPSAS 11, construction. But you got to be aware that these three IPSAS, they are all about recognition of revenue. So there is a new IPSAS that is coming up in 2026. That is IPSAS 47, revenue. And it is to bring together all of these other IPSAS when it comes to recognition of revenue by the covered entities. So from 2026, we are going to be looking at IPSAS 47. But for now, July 2025, November 2025, we're still going to be dealing with these. But from 2026, this IPSAS 47 is going to be effective, and that is replacing 23, 9, and 11. There is that relationship, because in the financial reporting class in the private sector, when it comes to revenue recognition, we had IAS 18 and then we have IAS 11, construction contract, right? But these were replaced with IFRS 15, revenue from contract with customers. That is the same transition happening in the public sector. So from 2026, effective 1st January 2026, entities will be required, public sector entities will be required to then apply the IPSAS 47, because that is now going to become the revenue standard, replacing IPSAS 23, IPSAS 9, and then IPSAS 11. But for July and November, we're still going to be dealing with these three. So those three IPSAS are there that we need to understand there. Then certainly we go to IPSAS 5, borrowing cost. Very important, right? IPSAS 31, intangible assets. And so when you start dealing with the revenue management and expenditure control, this topic, as you are going to see when we start the live lectures in the class, we are going to now be bringing up all of these IPSAS, and then you're going to see how the IPSAS relate to each other. But we're going to have 20 marks question on the International Public Sector Accounting Standards, and you must know all of them. Just like how in the private sector, we must understand all the IFRSs. Now in public sector also, we must know all of these IFRSs. Now the beauty of this is that most of the IPSAS are also in financial reporting. And so if you're doing financial reporting and public sector together, boom, it's a good thing, because a lot of the ideas, you're just going to be transporting them, but then you contextualize. That's one of the reasons why it is recommended that you write public sector and then financial reporting together. But that is 20 marks question coming in from the International Public Sector Accounting Standards. Now, once you finish with the introductory issues, know the financial statement, revenue management and expenditure control, understand the various bases of accounting, know some of the IPSAS, which you have to know about. Now, remember, in our mobile application, we have lecture videos on, largely almost all of the IPSAS that you have to be mindful of. And we have this available on our portal. And so that is one of the things that you get when you enroll. You get access to all of those lecture videos and be able to study at your own pace wherever you are, because you can download the videos and watch them over and over again in the mobile application and be able to finish the syllabus in record time. So you will be able to deal with things even before the live lectures where a certain topic is going to be treated. And that flexibility allows you to go through the syllabus and put yourself in the position to ultimately pass the examination. That's one of the key benefits that you get enrolling on our platform and studying under my mentorship for the examination. So once we are done with these IPSAS, the next thing we go to now is to look at preparation of financial statement. 20 marks question waiting for us in the exam hall. But your ability to understand preparation of financial statement depends on your understanding of the topic revenue management and expenditure control, as I mentioned earlier, because you must know the various types of revenue to central governments, covered entities, and all of those things. Then number 2, you must also be aware of the various IPSAS. Now, when it comes to the financial statement preparation, at least you must know about IPSAS 17, property, plant, and equipment. You must know about IPSAS 19, provisions. You must know about IPSAS 12, inventories. Like, it's a non-negotiable. You must know these IPSAS off head before you get into the exam hall. All right. So in addition to learning the IPSAS and having dedicated question on the IPSAS, when it comes to the preparation of the financial statement, that 20 marks area that the examiner is going to be bringing, you have to have an understanding of the IPSAS. And so revenue management and expenditure control will help you to know the various sources of revenue to the central government, to the covered entities, and then the expenditures of the central government and the covered entities as well. And that is 20 marks area, financial statement preparation. Now, by the time you are getting into financial statement preparation, it means that you have gone through the introductory topics, because you know the techniques of accounting. There is a way we prepare the financial statement if we are in the cash basis. There's a way we prepare the financial statement when we are doing accrual basis. There's a way we prepare the financial statement when we are applying the modified accrual basis. And so you would have done this, you would have gone through some of the key IPSAS before you come to preparation of financial statement stage 3. Then we go to stage 4, and that is, now that we know how to prepare the financial statement, let's use the financial statement we know how to prepare to now evaluate the financial performance and position of the entity. So evaluation of financial performance and position of the entity. This is 20 marks waiting for us in the exam hall. 20. Because now you know what goes into the preparation of the financial statements. Now you understand what revenues are, what expenditures are. Now you understand how government generates revenue and incur expenditures. So based on that understanding, you can now evaluate the performance of the entity. Now there are 3 methods that or approaches that can be used to evaluate the financial performance, position, and condition of an entity or the central government as a whole. The first one that we need to know about is certainly the common size analysis. Okay, so we may be asked to prepare the common size statement, and then we analyze the common size statement. Number 2 is ratio analysis. Okay, ratio analysis. This is where you are going to be calculating various ratios, and then you use that ratio to analyze the financial performance, financial position, and financial conditions of the entity. That is ratios. Then the third one is the statement of budget performance. This is where we are going to be comparing the budget of the entity with the actual result. We want to find out what is the outcome. So if government budgeted that, they will get revenue, total revenue of 200 billion in the year, at the end of the year, how much revenue did they get? Were they far from their budget or closer to their budget? Why did they move far? Why were they close to their budget? That is the evaluation of the financial performance and position of the entity. And so for 20 marks in the exam hall, one of these guys going to be there. Common size statement, ratio analysis, and statement of budget performance. Again, as I mentioned, by the time you are getting to this level, you have done the introductory aspects, you've done some of the IPSAS, most importantly, you've prepared financial statements, and so you are now going to use that knowledge to be able to evaluate the performance and position of the entity. That's the fourth thing. And so this is how the study or the course is structured. The topics are intertwined to put you in the position to actually go into the exam hall and pass the examination at the end of the day. So once we are done with these, then we finish with the financial reporting part. We now come back to the public financial management part. And that is the section A of the syllabus, where we talk about public financial management. Actually, we could even start from here and then dig deeper, okay? But we could also wait and do this as the last one generally. And so what's happening here is that there are 2 things for 20 marks in the exam hall that the examiner is going to be asking you about: public financial management, budgeting, okay? And then number 2, the PIFA framework. Budgeting and the PIFA framework. These are the 2 key things here for 20 marks that the examiner will be throwing at you. Under budgeting, you are looking at, the various types of budgeting, the processes of budgeting, the advantages of budgeting, the disadvantages of budgeting, all of those things under budgeting that you have to be mindful of. When it comes to the PIFA, the same thing. We have the objectives of the PIFA framework, reasons for the PIFA framework, limitations of the PIFA framework. Then you now come to the calculation aspect, where you are dealing with the M1, weakest link method, M2, the average method, and then Number 3, preparation of the statement of budget performance in the PFA environment. Okay, preparation of statement of budget performance in the PFA environment. 10 marks waiting for us in the exam hall. So when it comes to public sector accounting and finance, this is what we are talking about. And so if you're able to have the understanding, get those introductory issues very well, understand them very well, then you come to the IPSAS, build knowledge well. Yes, it's a lot, but that's why you have to spread your studies. That's why we say all the time, you cannot wait 2 weeks to the exam, a week to the exam. That's where you start studying. No, you need to be studying. You need to be consistent. Then you come to the financial statement preparation. Then you come to the evaluation of the financial statement. Then certainly you can look at the PFA or the public financial management system, which will be your last thing. So when it comes to the public sector accounting and finance syllabus, this is the breakdown and the way the topics are knitted together and the way you learn them. And most importantly, how the examiner is going to be bringing them out in the exam. Because I say this to my students all the time, and you're going to see this a lot during our live lectures. The goal is not just about learning, but the goal is to ask yourself, how will the examiner going to set the question? What is the structure of the questions? How would the examiner ask it? So that's how you are going to be looking at this. So yes, we know there's going to be question on IPSAS. Don't be bothered about which IPSAS, because that one, you are going to just kill yourself for free. You have to be concerned about each of the IPSAS that you go through. How is the examiner going to set the question? What am I supposed to be on the lookout for? What are the verbs? What are the things that the examiner is going to say that I need to be mindful of as I go into the exam hall? But that is the idea about public sector accounting and finance and the key topical issues that we have to be mindful of.